Welcome to Castles to Cauldrons, where every journey starts with a little bit of magic.
Welcome to episode 15 of Castles to Cauldrons. I am your host, Jason Davis, with Rachel, Micah, and Terry. And returning for the third time, we have Allison. I guess maybe we should start doing like the 5 Timers Club that they do on
like
Saturday
SNL,
Night Live.
yeah.
And you get a special jacket when you get to 5.
Oh, I like that.
So right now you're on track to be the first of the 5 Timers, and Siobhan will never get to the 5 Timers. So Allison is here to talk about the Festival of the Arts, or as I like to call it, and a lot of the Disney community will call it farts as acronyms. It's so fun.
No, ugh.
I mean,
it's complete opposite of what it means. Like it's supposed to be these beautiful flowers and art and everything. That's like fart.
But it's
when you have the Figment popcorn bucket, and then you have that, in the room with the Figment, and he the fart smell.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it kind of. It's a skunk.
Oh, it's skunk.
And did you know, like, that's actually coffee smell, not skunk?
Yeah. It's burnt coffee or something like that.
It's burnt coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
And because if you really think about it when you're there and you think coffee before the smell comes out, you're like, yep, that's coffee, not fart.
That's what several coffee places up in Boone smell like, but I thought it was also a mixture of some other thing.
Festival of the Arts started on January 17th. It's going to run through February 24th. It's one of the shorter festivals that Disney has to offer. I actually love Festival of the Arts. It's my favorite festival, even though it's so short. We've always tried to make the time to go down there. What I've seen is kind of declined a little bit. What are your thoughts about this year's festival, Allison?
So I went last year on opening day, which is what made me schedule this year's trip. It was just so immersive to be there as one of the first guests when the festival's opening, try all the food, see all the new artwork. I think it is one of the best festivals. I hate that it's so short, because it is very colorful. The chalk art is wonderful. I love the paint by numbers. It is just a great all ages festival as well. I find that there's a lot to do and see for children and adults, which again just makes Epcot is my favorite park, and it just gives all the more reason to go there.
Epcot is the best park in Walt Disney World. Even after they've changed everything, it's still just great. The thing I don't like that they've done with Festival the very first year of Farts was that they had all this interactive elements. Like they had the T-shirts that they sold that year, and I think the first 2 years they had the graphic designers there, and you could pick out what you wanted, and they printed on the colors you wanted and the shirt you wanted, and all that jazz. They had a bicycle spin art. They had dip for scarves that you go dip in and get marbled scarves. It just was a very art festival thing, like you would go downtown. And it feels like they've slowly taken stuff away from it every year.
I was like, they don't do the bicycle art anymore, where you pay to do that and you pedal the bike and it does like the spin art. They don't do that anymore.
I did not see that this year.
That's what I was actually getting ready to say. Like, what I loved about like Festival of the Arts when I've been there before is how like immersive it is for the people being there, because they do have so many things for you to do. But if they're starting to take that stuff away, it kind of takes away from that festival. Like, I enjoyed the paint by number, seeing all the chalk art, the different things that they had around that you could, either pay to do, like the bicycle spin art or things like that. I just felt like it was really immersive and included like us as guests coming in.
Oh, I was just going to ask, like, obviously everyone liked these things, so they became popular. So do you think they took away like the things that people actually do instead of see, because just crowd control almost, like it's almost impossible for everyone to do all the immersive experiences, and it causes lines back up, things like that?
To say they took him away is actually, I guess, wrong, because it's not at Festival of the Arts anymore. But it is in Artworks, I think is the name of the store in Disney Springs. It's right next to the Star Wars store across from the 25 Days of Christmas, whatever. And you can see the bicycles in there, and you can do the scarf marbling. But the shirts, things, I like the uniqueness of bringing home something cool from an art festival versus a generic shirt that everybody's going to have. So being able to pick out the design I wanted on the shirt I wanted with the colors I wanted from those graphic designers. It was great because it was my shirt versus what everybody else had.
Yeah, without having to go to Disney Springs or somewhere like that. Like you were already in that park. Because some people don't build out a day to go to Disney Springs, you know?
Well, and the fun fact is that Festival of the Arts started as Festival of the Masters, which was at downtown Disney. And they stopped doing that once they started construction for expanding to Disney Springs. So they kind of moved it over from a free event to a hard ticket event in Epcot. And they've kind of taken away the local element of it because Festival of the Masters was much more of a homegrown type festival where all the local artists were there. And Epcot is now a lot of the Disney artists.
I have wondered if it changes often because of that vendor aspect. Like, you know, who's to say what Disney pays them or how profitable the vendors and artists, you know, see the festival. So it makes you wonder if sometimes others just don't sign up year after year, or if Disney's not offering them to sign up. It's really hard to tell. But the other thing that I noticed was we didn't have many new menu items this year. And so it does feel like there's a big following for Festival of the Arts, but Disney isn't really on board with it. They just seem to be kind of just letting it happen and not so much adding to it or improving it each year.
Yeah. So where you were having the lengthen of International Flower and Garden and Food and Wine festivals going into the summer both ways, it's like you could have moved Flower and Garden back a couple more weeks and given Festival of the Arts a little bit more time to kind of mature. And they're just like, no, we just need something here for a downtime. Rachel, what were you going to say?
She was bringing up the food offerings, and that enchanted rose. Please tell me you had it.
No, I didn't.
Did you have
what did you have?
Octopus?
So
The squid
this
ink?
year, the squid ink pasta. No, I didn't try that either. I guess we weren't as adventurous. But
Well, I mean-
my go-to is the mushroom risotto. I can't remember which place that is from. It's near Canada. So it's, I think, Canada's Pavilion. But it is so good. And we were there when it was cold. And so it was like the perfect time. I didn't get around to the grilled cheese, but I know the grilled cheese and tomato soup at Pop Eats has a following. We
I
didn't
just don't
try
know about
many of the
grilled
foods
cheese
this
though
time.
at Epcot. It's like I can have grilled cheese at home.
Well, they're never as good at home.
Yeah. Doesn't
They
have
don't have as much
the pull.
butter and cheese
Yeah.
and garlic.
I'm just saying.
And we just have normal sandwich bread, so our bread's not as good as other people's bread is when they make them like at a restaurant. But maybe you're more adventurous.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I mean, we found that out. I eat at America every time I go there.
Go to Epcot.
You ate deep fried toothpaste though, so none of us other people did that.
Allison looked. It was that
Ooh.
HHN.
You had like the Colgate special.
Oh,
It was like
some
what, a
mint
corn
thing?
dog, a mint corn
It
dog,
was
or
the
something.
mint corn dog. There was no corn. There was no hot dog in there, but it was mint.
It was a
like
blue
a
paste.
paste. Yeah,
It looked like
with corn
toothpaste.
dog, which was actually a funnel cake, and then bugles on top, and it was horrid.
Jason literally had Bethany
I'll send you the
record a
video.
video of him trying it to send
sent-
us.
I sent it to a client this week because her son is going to try the pickled corn dog down at Boardwalk.
Mhm.
And I was like, no, I've tried the worst thing you can ever have in your mouth. And he can have that.
I think there could be worse.
There probably is worse.
So what did you try food wise, Allison?
Just the mushroom risotto this trip. Because there weren't many new items, we honestly just had more on our list to try. And honestly, we enjoyed most of just looking at the art vendors, looking at the chalk art. We did the paint by numbers. And we had, like I said, the festival passport, and just nothing was jumping out, at least to try new. It has some great items, but for this, it was a short trip, and we were only attending the festival for one day. Had we been coming back another day, we probably could have planned better. That's maybe my only I think next year I may wait to see what all the influencers post about it. Like at least give it like schedule a week or two into the festival for my trip so that I can just absorb everything the, internet vloggers post about and what the popular drink is or what's the to try, not to try. So
Well, that's the problem is that you did go and try to be an influencer this weekend, and
well, it's
you just
fun to be in that. It's
You can
very
see-
exciting to be on an opening day of a festival. I'm not
Oh,
going to
yeah.
lie. It's like there's just an energy about it. And you do see your favorite vloggers, doing their thing. And
Was it super busy?
it was busy. I wouldn't say, though, it's more just walking around because, again, people were in lines for the food and trying to eat in all those crowded areas. But the rides, I didn't notice any difference.
What about the popcorn bucket? Was that like as big? Because I feel like the original Figment popcorn bucket, like the big guy,
Yeah.
was such an Instagrammable social media pool. And I feel like I've barely seen the new Figment light bulb one.
Yeah, I haven't seen
It's a
many
hot air balloon,
pictures
isn't it?
of it.
No, it says it's a light bulb.
it looked like a hot air balloon. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's a light bulb, but they've
Light
really
bulb.
done well with the new process that now you mobile order it and there's a separate line to pick it up at the Odyssey. Is that the Odyssey building that's right there in between Mexico and Guardians? So it really makes it streamlined. So at least you don't see the backup of like 200 people waiting to get a popcorn bucket, but they had tables with like hundreds of them just sitting there waiting to be sold.
Yeah, I think the popularity of Figment the first year of this was that they hadn't sold much Figment merch at that point. So when the popcorn bucket came out, it was like, oh my God, Figment, got to have it. And now Figment's on every shirt for every festival. And then they have small merchandise year round for just randomness. So it's kind of like, I don't need my popcorn bucket now.
Well,
I did
and I
like
think
last year's better though.
they moved it to the Odyssey and doing the mobile ordering because then Pop Eats wasn't really able to like even sell the food that they had
Yeah.
because everyone was in line to get the bucket and
Yeah.
not necessarily even the food.
Mm-hmm.
So they were smart to move that last year.
So did you meet any of the art vendors or look at any of the art while you were there besides the chalk art or anything like that?
I did. I do not remember names specifically, but I just love looking at all the art and it makes me dream up what my office would be. Just like I would love to have more like sophisticated art that's well framed and well done because obviously being a Disney adult, you have to kind of walk that line of like having an office that's inside your whole house that everyone has to live in, but some of the artwork there is just so beautiful. And when you see it framed in such a upscale way, I mean, it is 100% something I would put in my home. And obviously others see that as well. Like there are long lines for certain artists and it sells out very quickly, one of a kind paintings.
Did you notice a lot of like long lines, like for the food and things like that? Because I know sometimes, like you said, once those things do get on Instagram and everything, the lines seem really long to wait for it. And so that might be one of the reasons you only get 2 or 3 things the whole day when you're there.
I did not feel like the lines were bad. Like, yes, there was a lot of people eating and getting stuff, but I can remember, I feel like last time I was at Food and Wine a year or so ago, I just remember some were outside of where they even have it roped off. And I never saw a queue for one of the booths more than half full, which I think is great.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, trying to
lines
find a
move
place
quickly.
to eat it would have been
Yeah.
much more difficult.
On the trash
Just the
cans.
trash can.
No, but I said all things were taken. Like every trash can was taken. Everything you could have tried to sit on, like anything.
Something else they do for arts is the Broadway shows. Did you do any of those?
No, again, it was opening day, and so we actually hopped over at the evening back to Magic Kingdom. We spent most of the day at Epcot, but not the evening. I don't remember who was performing that first. Or is it one of the readings?
No, they do like songs from the Broadway musicals that they're in normally, or they'll even do it from other ones as well.
I want to say it was performers from Ariel or like The Little Mermaid, like when I looked them up, but it wasn't someone's name that I'd recognized.
We don't ever make we like Broadway, but we don't ever make a trip over to watch that. I'm fine listening to Disney music in my car.
I feel like the way the World Pavilion is set up is that if you ever make it back to Canada, Mexico, you never go back to America.
Has everyone been to Festival of the Arts before, at least once?
It's the only one
Yes.
I've never been to because the time of year that it falls, we're never in Florida that time
I was
of year.
there 2 years ago.
So was I. I was there 2 years ago. The memories popped up on my
Like-
Facebook.
Today was the day we were traveling there 2 years ago. Like my memories are popping up on Facebook too. Actually, how many? No, 4 and 2 years ago. Like literally 2 years ago was the day. No, Robert or Kova and I came home. You probably can't see. It was like Kova on the airplane, and I was like, "What a wonderful weekend!"
It's been a few years since I went, and I'll tell you, my biggest disappointment is that in the deconstructed booth, they used to have a s'more, and that was my favorite thing, and they took it away. It's never returned.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, the deconstructed dish, like the key lime pie is a hit, but they just keep doing the same thing every year. Like I almost wish they would retry to deconstruct it or something. Give us a different format or just, change up the item and altogether. But if it's popular, maybe just at least try to switch it up a little bit to make it exciting for each new year. It feels like Disney just phoned it in this year. I'm hoping they see that it is popular and next year's a little different.
Well, I feel like if they want more people, especially like, like the Instagrammers and the influencers, you would want to do something different every year because you wouldn't want them to say, oh, we went last year and we've already gotten photos of all those foods and experiences. Let's do something else this year. And it's only a month long. So it doesn't give people very much leeway in time and scheduling. So you think they would come up with like at least every year, like 1 or 2 things that are like, bam, brand new, you have to try this, or it photographs well, even if it tastes like crap. It photographs well so that when they post it, it draws more people in and draws more people to look at it and want to come.
They tried to do with that Enchanted Rose thing that Rachel was talking about. Like it's really pretty and you would want to take a picture of it.
But it's never going to look like that when you get it. I mean, I'm looking at the menu now, and like the funnel cake menu is a cotton candy funnel cake topped with powdered sugar, vanilla ice cream, whipped cream, pink and purple sugar dusting, and cotton candy crunch. And it looks amazing. But when you get it in the Florida heat, it's going to be melted.
Well, I can tell you this year, it was not hot. It was cold. And
I saw the pictures.
Luckily, the sun came out for the festival day. It was our last day there. It was gorgeous with the sun, and it felt perfect. But the days leading up to it were frigid. And like I said, it was even a little chilly then. Like definitely nothing would have melted. It actually threw me off because we got a frozen coat, I think in Hollywood Studios during the trip. And I'm so used to having to like drink it quickly so it doesn't melt. It didn't ever melt. And it was a little bit like just my mind was like not used to it. I was like, where even am I? Why is this still so cold?
The photo ops. Because there's the little pop-up things. I know they've changed some of them. When we first started doing this, it was famous art pieces that you could step into and be part of, quote unquote. And now they've kind of introduced a lot of the Disney animated, right? Or did you pay attention to that?
I saw the regular ones that have typically been there, like the little ducks, the geese, whatever. Yeah,
the duck goose game.
The goose.
The geese that are there, and they have like the ribbons. Isn't that one?
I don't remember that one.
Maybe I made that one up. But they're at the festival, but those are at least painted in France. But I thought they're also part of the artwork that you stand in. But then there's like the Van Gogh one where it's like the 2 portraits.
Don't they have Starry Night?
Yeah, that's Starry Night, and then I can't remember the other. Oh, Scream. Maybe it was just Scream. I don't know. Bethany would know. She knows all that history, art stuff. But I know they had like Sleeping Beauty.
And maybe that's to say, one thing you do maybe miss on that first opening day, because it is just very crowded in the walkways. I mean, I could have easily walked past a photo op and not seen it, depending on where it was located.
But then a small little thing with your kids is that they can put, they'll put quote unquote chalk art on the walls of different characters in different pavilions. So you can find those and whatnot. And then Figment has his artist scavenger hunt that you get a little stencil, I think, is the gift this year. You pay like $15 for a map and stickers, and you get a stencil in return when you finish it. Or you can just turn it in right then. They give you the stencil.
I think finding the little like characters in the different pavilions is fun, because like in Italy you find like the characters from Luca. In France you'll see like the Aristocats. Like it's fun to go through and actually see those characters and like where they have them hidden in the pavilion.
So I mean, while it's a lot of food and drink for adults to walk around and eat, and if you have an adventurous kid, the food's gonna be fun. But they still cater this to so kids can have some fun. As Allison alluded to, then there is the next festival coming up, which would be.
So Flower and Garden will be the next festival starting March 5th and running through June 2nd.
So this one ends the 20 what?
4th.
So that's a pretty quick like turnover time. What, like 2 weeks
Well, I mean,
of a turnover time?
You got to think the booths now are just permanent in Epcot. There used to be a time where the
I know,
booths
but they
got
have to
pulled
put all the
back.
topiaries in. I feel like that's got to take time and plant all the flowers and
They
get
do
the
that.
butterfly garden.
That's already done. They're just going to move it from one venue to the other venue.
Yeah,
That's
just
like-
dig a hole and put it in the spot.
I hope they have new new topiaries. I'm so tired of seeing the same stuff year after year in the same spots.
But they projection mapped on 2 of them this year or last year. I mean, that's new.
Which ones did they do that on?
The Cocoa Dog. I don't know if it has a name.
He does. Dante.
He does.
Dante. I know I saw Dante last year all lit up with the color stuff.
I can't remember the other one. Maybe it was Maribel or one of the Encanto characters. But I know they projection mapped on 2. But
I think that's the most beautiful festival is
that's what I
Flower and
was fixing
Garden.
to say.
It's my favorite.
It is my favorite.
Love Festival of the Arts. That's my favorite festival, but my favorite time to walk into Epcot is Flower and Garden, just because how beautiful they've pulled that thing together. I wish they could keep a lot of that up, but seeing the shores of the lakes or lagoons, whatever they're called, the sinkholes they've filled in with the
I
flowers.
wish those flowers would just rotate maybe to different ones for the different festivals, but I do think they're gorgeous, and that's probably the reason Flower and Garden is number 1 for me. Arts is second, and then Food and Wine, then Festival of the Holidays. But it is just, I just can't believe that we're currently in one festival thinking that another one is getting ready to start in just over 30 days. Like,
they've already started announcing all this stuff, because with Flower and Garden, you've got the Garden Rocks concert, and they've started pushing all those artists who's going to show up and play for them. And those are going to be more of your B celebrities, and Joey Fatone.
It's like the has-beens that had stuff.
A celebrity.
Funny story. My sister and I don't like Germany to eat there, the Birgitine, but we still like the food, like to eat at Birgitine. But my brother-in-law and my husband do. So we went and ate in Japan and had sushi, and they ate at Birgitine in Germany and got drunk off the grapefruit beer. We did, unbeknownst to us, because we had all the kids, obviously. And I called my husband, and I'm like, "Where are you at?" He's like, "Oh my God, Mark McGrath is playing down here." And he was like it was the best thing in the world. And I was like, okay. He's like, "No, you don't get it. Sugar Ray." And I was like, "Yeah, I
Sugar
get
Ray.
it." It's like, you're not even like, that's not even your type of music. He was like, this is like being in high school again. I mean, they loved it. And so my sister and I and the kids went down, and it was a really good time. Like you said, we would have never stopped there and enjoyed the music of Mark McGrath.
It is
So-
really hard to get drunk, though, off that grapefruit beer.
was gonna
It's
say
like a
that, too.
2.5.
Yeah,
you
they-
had at least
alcohol.
40 of them
But it's
before you
good.
feel something.
Oh,
Yeah,
That was
that's-
great.
delicious. But I
is
think
great,
it's so
yeah.
delicious because it has barely any alcohol. It's basically
They-
juice.
Pretty much sat while my sister and I took the kids around everywhere. Like, we had babysitting duties, and they were free for the afternoon / evening. So I think they just sat there and just drank out of the big, 32-ounce steins back to back to back. And I was like, must be nice.
So
But
I
it did
will-
turn out to be a fun evening.
Wait a minute. Before Jason, how did you pronounce that restaurant?
Birgatine.
Beer garden.
Beer
It's
garden.
Beer Garden.
That's what everyone's always told me. It's Birgatine. And I
I
thought
always
I
call
was
it beer garden.
I thought I was a
Paige
hit.
was like, "What are you saying?"
I thought I was a hit because I pronounced it beer garden. I was like, oh, it must be because I'm
And then
from
I-
the sticks. So-
And then I looked it up, and I'm like, either I'm saying it wrong or she's
Well, no.
saying it wrong.
I feel so justified right now because I've been corrected on that so many times, and I thought I was little country bumpkin. I was like, my bad. I've never been to Germany. I don't know.
The next festival we have after Flower and Garden, which is probably the most popular, and it is the longest running festival, is going to be the International Food and Wine Festival. I'm not a big fan of it, but what are y'all's thoughts?
I like it, but again, I like Epcot, and I'm open to any festival. I like it better than Festival of the Holidays. That's about all I can give it, though.
Do we have dates for it already this year?
Nope.
It's in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for a while they had started it around the 4th of July, but then they pushed it to the end of July, beginning of August last year, like how it used to be.
Actually, it started the end of August last year because we went early August and still had a Epcot with no festival going on, which I was a little sad about because we missed it by those few weeks. But I expect that they'll probably do that again. I think it's going to be end of August.
My biggest complaint, I said it on, I think, our very first podcast, was that the first time we went to this festival was our second trip, and you could just smell the alcohol coming from everything, and it was just like it took me out of the whole Disney spirit of stuff. So that's why it's not my favorite.
Well, I just don't think of drinking wine and enjoying a nice stroll around. I mean, because Disney doesn't not get hot till honestly like November. And that's when it's like mildly hot. It's like you said, if you start it in July or August, I just can't imagine drinking wine in the sun at 100 degrees and enjoying, I don't know. I feel like it feels folly. So to start it super early just feels a little rushed.
There's something about like the soup when they have those soups and stuff like that in August. And it's like, I don't want soup when it's 150,000 degrees outside.
No, but if you do go, say it's October where it starts to get chilly at night, that new noodle booth, I'm not sure the full name of it. Oh, it is so good. It is so good. I've been actually dreaming about it since I had it like 2 years ago, and I need to have it again.
And see, because that's HHN season. I don't ever go to that. That's all. If I'm in Orlando in the fall, I'm over at Universal doing HHN
You can
stuff.
go to both.
So the big draw for this one, besides the food and the wine, obviously, is they have the Eats to the Beat concert, which is your sub A-list bands. You're going to have more well-known people, but they're still not like your Taylor Swift or anybody like that running around. But it's still a good little atmosphere back there in the American Pavilion, rocking out. The last festival is Festival of the Holidays, which is probably my second favorite festival.
I was gonna say I love that you can go to the different countries and see what their traditions are for Christmas and to see that. And I like sugar and sweet things, and a cookie stroll just sounds fun. Like you can go through and get the different cookies and try those different things. So, and I think it's pretty. Christmas is like my favorite time of year, and seeing it decorated that way. I've never been. I really want to go, but it's so short, so it makes it hard to have time to go because it doesn't start until that weekend after Thanksgiving, and it goes until just right after Christmas, like before the new year, and
January
then it kind of
31st
stops.
is the official last date.
December 31st.
Yeah. What did I say?
January.
That's cool. They still have their Christmas tree up until January 6th. So I was like, why not?
Animal Kingdom was still playing Christmas music on January 16th, and I'm sure they probably were the 17th. I just didn't go, but I was like, guys, like, I understand you can't get down all the decorations quickly, but the music has got to just be like a switch. You just switch it over. It was very weird because clearly Christmas has left my brain, at least, and I love Christmas, but by January 16th, I have already had to move on, unfortunately, and I don't need Animal Kingdom reminding me that we are now a whole year away from it.
My favorite thing of Festival of the Holidays is the Candlelight Processional, which started in Disneyland when Walt was around. And they bring in an actual celebrity.
I do recognize more of the names for the Candlelight Processionals. I will say that.
I work with someone who went this year, and the person that did the Candlelight Processional when she went was, I don't remember his name. Don't be mad at me. But it's the kid from Karate Kid.
Ralph
Macchio. Mm-hmm. That's who she saw, and she was so excited. He has a movie
come out this year, but they have like Whoopi Goldberg came this year. Josh Gad.
He was hilarious. I saw clips of him doing it, and he was hilarious.
I saw Rachel's favorite person,
Brandon Fraser,
John Stamos.
Oh, John Stamos, Uncle Jesse.
And then like Neil Patrick Harris comes pretty often.
He's like a staple.
But with John and Neil, they're both Disney icons.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty much free spokesmen for the brand.
Neil Patrick Harris just seems like he would be nice.
He's on our list to go do Candlelight. The reason we want to see John was because he knew the history of the Candlelight and he took it serious. We had a good time watching him.
I really want to do that. Like, I really want to plan a weekend to go to Festival of the Holidays. Like, I want to do that and see the Candlelight Processional, preferably on a weekend. I know the speaker, the person that's going to be talking. Don't they have, for most of those things, like Eat to the Beat and all that, they have dining packages that you can get. So you have like seating versus having to stand in line when it's someone like Neil Patrick Harris. That line for that Candlelight Processional is going to be very long. People are going to be lining up hours and hours before to get a seat.
Launch day for those packages is horrible.
Yeah. And even then, when you get a package, the line for the package side is still insufferable. We sat down maybe like 2 hours before John Stamos's show, and we were second row right in front of him. So that's because we were there for. We knew that's what we wanted to do, and that was our tradition. Was the first weekend of every December going to see Candlelight. If
you're inside those concert areas, do you have to leave to use the restroom?
Yes.
As someone that I feel like I would have to go, and especially if I waited in a 2-hour line and then I finally get into like an hour long or longer show, I need to know these things. I need to know where the restroom exits are. Let's all go around and say what our top festival is.
Rachel.
I like Festival of the Arts because it is short, sweet, and I think it's quirky.
Micah, what's yours?
I have to say mine is Flower and Garden, just because of how pretty it is. And they do have good options for like food. And I like the music aspect. But a close second is Festival of the Holidays, just because I love Christmas time.
Allison.
Flower and Garden, hands down.
Terry.
Flower and Garden, best weather, in my opinion. It's just getting warm. The flowers are super pretty, and you're kind of in a springtime mood. Like Allison was saying earlier, you're out of the Christmas spirit. You're kind of in a winter funk, and going down to Florida and experiencing the, Flower and Garden Festival where everything's in bloom and it's good food. And I don't know, it kind of puts a little pep in your step and gets you ready. A little excited, get out of the winter blues. And Jason.
Festival of the Arts. They're all fun. There's all something to do in all of them. I think we can all agree we'd have fun.
Oh yes,
around the world and finding something to do. But even listening to the no-name bands they bring in for Garden Rocks. All right, well, we'll send it to a commercial break. We'll be back with you in a second.
Are you dreaming of your next adventure but overwhelmed by planning? Magical Travel has you covered. With over 22 years in the business, we specialize in Disney destinations, Universal Studios, cruise vacations, and all-inclusive resort getaways. Our services are 100% complimentary when you book a vacation package with one of our knowledgeable agents. Request a free quote to start the planning process at www.magicaltravel.com. Mention our podcast to be connected with one of our agents you are listening to.
Terry is taking her first trip to the West Coast. Everybody on the pod today has been to the West Coast. Allison, you've only been the one time, correct?
Yes, and definitely fortunate that I got out there this past fall. So.
And Rachel's only been out there once too, correct?
Yeah, just
and
once.
It's just to Disneyland. Mike has only been once.
Only
Wow.
to Disneyland.
So I'm the expert on the West Coast.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think you and Allison are the only ones that's been to Universal Hollywood. Did you go to Universal Hollywood, Rachel?
No.
We didn't make the trip out there either.
Yeah, I think I've been 4 times. So she's taking her first trip at the end of February, correct?
Yes.
And you're doing 1 day in both parks? No, 2 days
2
in
days
Disneyland,
yes.
and 1 day in Hollywood, Universal Hollywood.
Yes.
So what she wants to know is our opinions on different things, and she's going to ask questions, and we will answer the best we can. So, Terry, I'll take it to you.
I'm going to pose this as if you were my travel agent and I had been to Disney World before.
We get commission for this.
Sure. Why not? I'll throw like $1 your way. No worries.
That's the most important. Are we charging you for this?
But what would you tell your clients if they're like, I've been to Disney World, but now I'm going to go to Disneyland? Because I know some of the rides are duplicates, but then some of them are duplicates but different and things like that. So how would you plan a trip differently from Disney World to Disneyland? Must-dos, snacks, things you have to see, things that are worth it or not worth it, or just your favorite things in general. So we'll start with what's different than Walt Disney World that you feel like you have to do?
Well, let me say something before we get into that, because I think the biggest thing is culture shock. When you go out there is you're used to the 4 parks being so spread out and Disney Springs being on the other side of the property and everything. When you get to Disneyland, everything's on top of itself. So you go into, it's the Esplanade in between everything. If you're standing in the middle of it, California Adventure's on one side, Disneyland's on the other side, and downtown Disney's right in front of you.
Like
So,
it
I mean,
literally takes 90 seconds to jump from one park to the other, to walk from one gate to the other, less than 2 minutes.
So park hopping is legit a need.
Do you
there,
have
'cause
park
you can just
hopper
go back and
tickets?
forth.
No. Oh, I haven't bought the tickets yet.
Okay.
So
This is my informative session.
Yeah.
Definitely
Make sure you get a park hopper.
with the lightning lane, because their lightning lane out there actually works a lot better than Walt Disney World's.
Okay.
And you can pre-purchase Lightning Lane there when you purchase your tickets, which will at least save you time and possibly a little bit of money, because when you pre-purchase, it's only $30 and it can go up to, is it 35 on some days?
I think it can go up to 40. It's scaled like Disney World is,
Yeah.
for sure. But
But if you
remember
pre-purchase
the-
it, you only pay that lowest price.
So for
And
like go ahead.
their lightning lane includes Photo Pass
Oh, love
For-
that.
for attractions and just regular like pictures in front of the castle stuff. Okay, so your question was which
Yeah.
rides to skip out on and whatnot?
Yeah, like I mean, when someone tells you they're going to Disney World, the first thing you say is, "Oh, you got to check this out, and you got to do this, and this is kind of hyped up, but it's not worth it. So if you don't go there, it's fine. But make sure you get the, like because you've been there so many times, you know what the ins and outs are. So as
I think you
someone
gotta
who's
try to
never
do it
been-
all. Now, I say that knowing that in my 2 days at Disneyland and California Adventure, we were not able to do every single ride, but like Pirates, is different. We loved Pirates. We loved It's a Small World. Like we still tried to get on everything. So yeah, I think just try to go with a big goal of trying to do what you can, and then just you might happen to miss a few. I can't think of like Indiana Jones would definitely be a must do for me. Like I would say,
Yes.
do not miss that one.
That's on the list.
Make sure you rope drop when you do Disneyland, especially because certain rides, like their older dark rides, like Alice in Wonderland, Mr. Toad's, Snow White, they don't have lightning lane. So if you get there first thing in the morning, you can ride those and then save your lightning lanes for for the ones that have it a little bit later, because those are rides that they have there that we don't have at Disney World. So try to also focus on those. But then Pirates of the Caribbean is almost twice as long there than it is at Disney World.
Oh, nice.
So it's one that you need to ride. Haunted Mansion is slightly different. So you want to ride it. You want to ride Matterhorn because that is, what the first roller coaster that they had. So it's kind of like Space Mountain and Expedition Everest put together. It might not be a ride you want to ride because you don't like thrill rides.
My husband will ride it without me. It's okay. I'll just stand at the bottom and wait.
If you want a back adjustment, that's where you go.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
that,
you need to go to the chiropractor afterwards. But also, like Allison said, it's a small world. I like that It's a Small World so much better because they have like characters, actual Disney characters, kind of hidden in with the different dolls, so that you can look for those.
And see, I didn't realize that until Heather told me, like, as we were like in line, or we were already at least in California when she told me this. And it was so neat seeing the characters mixed into the different scenes. Like, it was one of my favorite parts. I took pictures of like each character.
If you were going to skip something, skip Galaxy's Edge because it's a carbon copy of what we have at Disney World. Same rides, everything's exactly the same.
That's what I was going to say is if you're going to skip stuff, if it's in Disney World and it's new, like within the last 10, 15 years, skip it. Like, because Rise of Resistance is the exact same both ways. PhilharMagic is the same. Actually, Walt Disney World's, that's the only thing that's actually better in Walt Disney World than Disneyland because it's full on.
I like Big Thunder Mountain at Disneyland better too.
Yeah. So, and they like what Disney World's getting with this retrack that's happening that Rachel was a denier of. They did that out there 10 years ago. So you'll see what we should be getting in Walt Disney World.
Their Space Mountain is so much better too. You won't ride it because it goes upside down, but get your husband to ride it. It's smooth and it's a lot of fun.
Did it go upside down? I was on it and
it doesn't go upside down. I thought it did.
No?
I don't think it has the same type of seat harness, so I don't think it does.
No, it doesn't. You don't have to have an over the shoulder to go upside down either. You just, because Mindbender in Six Flags is just a flat belt.
Well, then also think of
Velocicoaster.
But that's a very new ride. That's new technology. Space Mountain's been there a while. I don't know how well they were trying to hold people in. We luckily were there during the Haunted Mansion holiday layover, which was...
If you can do Haunted Mansion holidays, that's what you need to do. You need to just say, hey, can you pull all that stuff out, put it up real fast for me,
and
let me ride through it. It'd be great.
I
it's
did
for
that.
content, I promise.
But yeah, that's the big thing. Like if it's done, Tiana's, I would do Tiana's just because it's a different ride system. It's a different build than what we have for Florida. So you'll have a different experience either way, just like Space Mountain.
Did you do your dining?
Yeah, you need to do dining. Let's talk dining then.
Yeah, let's talk dining.
It's going to be hard to get the good stuff.
You're way past. She's already way past it. Her opening date.
Because it's just the two of us, and because we want to do so many things, I didn't know if I wanted to take time to sit down and eat.
I would have grabbed some stuff and then canceled it.
Rachel says that Walt Disney World sit down inside the theme park food stinks.
Yeah, it does.
It does not stink in Disneyland.
No.
Like Blue Bayou is a great restaurant.
That's what I was going to say.
She's not going to get it.
Well,
She's not going to get it.
I'm going to go on a wing and a prayer.
You're not getting Blue Bayou.
So like the really good sit down restaurants, it's going to be hard for you to get. But even Carnation Cafe is good.
You got to get the churro toffee.
See?
There's
like so many different churro flavors there too.
Yeah, they do rant, and their churros are supposedly better out there than they are here. I don't like churros, so the Red Wagon corn dogs.
I was getting ready to say that. That's my favorite.
That is a must have.
I read a lot about those.
They are
They're
amazing.
and they mobile order.
Yes.
Mobile order.
It's right off
I
the
like
hub.
mobile ordering.
Right outside of Starbucks.
And it's also weird out there because it's quick service. It's usually chips, not French fries. So you'll get anything with a bag of chips, like Doritos, which are supposedly invented in Disneyland.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a tidbit.
At California Adventure, one of my favorite places that we would sit and just get a snack or get something to eat was we stayed at Pim's Kitchen a lot in Avengers Campus because the characters just walk around there. It's not like specific meet and greets. And especially if you're into Avengers, like Rachel loves them so much that that when you're sitting there, like there's different shows that happen. They walk by with like Black Panther, the Wakanda Warriors come out and they do a show. And then there's a show up on they don't do that anymore.
They stopped that one.
That was so good.
The one on the Avengers headquarters still happens, but the Dora Mache, they've stopped. Doctor Strange is done.
Those were so good. Why?
Yeah, they stopped.
I know now they have Deadpool out there doing stuff.
No, they don't. They just took.
They took that away too.
Yeah,
he was just there at Christmas. I saw him in a Christmas outfit.
They just took him out like last week.
So who's there?
Rachel.
Oh, they're not doing a show
because I love Avengers and Avengers Campus is
so
very
when
high
we were there.
list.
We saw T'Challa Black Panther because they have him and they have Shuri's Black Panther 2 comes out. Miss Marvel, Black Widow. What's Captain Marvel?
Captain
Ant-Man,
America, Thor.
Captain America, Loki. Both Captain Americas are there.
Okay.
Iron Man shows up. Spider-Man shows up.
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah. But Pim's Kitchen, there's a bar right there, and it's great. They have little lab cups. I don't know what you call them.
Beakers.
Yeah. And you drink
and they
out of
mobile
those.
order too. It's a really fun spot to sit. We sat there for a long time, like just taking in Avengers Campus. You probably won't ride. What is the Guardians of the Galaxy ride there?
You
called?
need to ride Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's the one with Tower
the
of
breakaway.
Terror, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's so fun. I hate Tower of Terror.
I liked it better than Tower of Terror.
Yes. Tower of Terror.
Does
to
it
me
drop a bunch like Tower of Terror? Like
Does.
will it shake and like drop? Yeah, I can't do that either.
I can
doesn't
go
necessarily
upside
shake it,
down
just
and
kind
I
of
can't
bumps them
drop.
down.
I think
Yeah.
what's good about that one is like literally when they close the doors, like you see Rocket put like a extension cord together and then you shoot up.
Yeah, and it's all
so fun.
music based. So like we had the Jackson 5 as Allison probably doesn't know who they are, but they,
Love
that
the
was our
Jackson.
Don't be
song.
mean.
It was ABC. So
It is a really fun ride. I was terrified, and my friend that I was with really wanted to ride it because she's also a really big Avengers fan, and I sucked it up. I literally have videos like me going before and like in the little like pre-show thing, I was recording myself going, I am so terrified. Like I'm only doing this for her. And I had so much fun. We ended up riding it 5 times while we were there.
Oh my God. No, that will definitely not happen.
It was
Another
so fun.
food item, though, if we're talking about California Adventure, is there's a little cappuccino cart before you head into like Pixar Pier. And it has a chimichurri steak breakfast burrito.
See, she knows what I'm talking about.
So
that
good.
sounds delicious right there.
I mean, I
Chimichurri
waited in the
breakfast.
line. Like, people started walking past us, like going, what is this line for? And everyone was like, the steak burrito. But it was so worth it. It was good. It's shareable, especially if you're going to be eating throughout the day. But that's definitely one of my food items that I will be thinking about until I get to go back.
It's right up my alley. Yeah. She knows where I'm at.
We can keep talking about food.
Yeah.
There-
Like I
there's-
said, any food drops. Like, okay,
what
so
date? What's your official dates going?
I think it's the 23rd to the 26th. The
No,
25th.
she's actually the 22nd to the 25th.
You're
Okay.
fantastic.
Here's what sucks. The
okay.
Lunar New Year ends February 18th.
I'm so upset about that.
And Food and Wine, the California Food and Wine Festival which is great. Doesn't start
Which should be
until
great because
the
in California.
28th.
Yeah, I was
Well, the
bummed about
28th,
that.
right after she leaves.
Yeah, which usually for the California Food and Wine, they bring in Soarin' Over Californian versus Soarin' Over the World.
Oh, so it's a whole different.
Yeah,
It's just
the original
over.
ride.
Wow.
So you're going to miss it, both of those,
Boo.
because it's the year of the snake.
Ew. Don't like snakes. Don't like snakes.
And they'll have like they bring out a lot of the Chinese characters for that, where you can meet like Red Panda and those people from what movie was that?
Turning Red.
Turning Red. Game plan. So like when we go, like when we're walking through Magic Kingdom, there we go one of two ways. My family either goes like straight to Tron, or they want to go like Splash Mountain way. You know, me, I want to take pictures in front of the castle, and nobody wants to do that. So,
Well, first off, remember that their castle is super small.
You should get your husband to video your reaction when you turn that corner, because my friend was like, okay, just like close your eyes, and we turned the corner, and I turned and I opened my eyes and I went, oh, it's so small.
Here's another
That's
fun fact that Small World facade is actually bigger than the castle.
That's the one thing, like when you start walking around Disneyland, I feel like you can get turned around easily because you don't have a big marker like the castle to go back to. Matterhorn sticks up way more than the castle.
It's something you can like look at, but orient yourself.
And make sure
like,
you go to Toontown and see like Mickey and Minnie's houses.
Oh yeah,
that's in Disneyland.
That's the only ride too that I would say go on that's a duplicate in Walt
Runaway
Disney World.
Mickey?
Yeah.
Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
The queue line in there is actually really good. It's themed as a Mickey through the years, and you can see all the props from his movies and everything like that. So it's really cool. It's the same ride, but you know,
I really like that ride. So no, that won't be a problem to wait in the queue or anything like that.
Make sure you are in line for fireworks, because at Disneyland they do get canceled way more often than they do in Disney World, because you are in Anaheim and there's like regular, chain hotels all around. And if it's windy at all, they cancel the fireworks. So when we were there, they set off like the first 3 fireworks and then stopped. And that was the only night we could watch fireworks. So we didn't get to see fireworks at Disneyland.
Well, that's what I'm really worried about, because like the hotel that my husband's supposed to be staying in, like I'm crashing his business trip at the tail end. He's going to Glendale. And like right now they're kind of like waiting, because right now their hotel is housing people who lost their houses in the fire. And the hotel is like, your room should be okay by then. We have a plan to, move people around by then. So I'm wondering if, because of all that, if they're going to do a ton of fireworks or anything, like you said, with the winds and everything. I don't know if it's a too close for comfort situation.
It's not ground level winds they're worried about. It's the winds that are up that you can't feel. And that's when they'll figure out when to cancel. Do you know what hotel that they're staying at that you're crashing?
No, I'm not going to their hotel. I'm flying in. I'm going straight to the Grand California, and he's coming to meet me.
Okay. I'm trying to think what else. World of Colors is fine. Virtual queue it if you're not going to do the dessert party. I don't necessarily recommend dessert party for it. It was okay.
You need to check the virtual queues at like an interesting time. I feel like 3:30.
Yeah, it was like 1. Yeah, it's like 1 or 2, something like that.
So
and Fantasmic's the same time.
Well,
Yeah,
it'll tell you,
it's 1 o'clock,
when you pull
I
up
think.
the app, it'll tell you when the virtual queue opens, and just then make sure you go ahead and set an alert for it.
Okay.
And World of Color's great. That's one of the best.
I've heard
Nighttime
only
shows.
wonderful things about
If it's
it. So
the
I'm very
original
excited.
show, it's a great show. If it's World of Color 1, it's bad.
Disneyland also has, I know how much you love Festival of Fantasy Parade. They have different parades. What's the name of their parade right now at Disneyland?
Nothing. Yeah, they don't have a parade
I'll
right
look
now.
on the event planning.
They don't
thing
have a
on
parade
the-
right now?
Because they're getting ready for the 70th with a new parade. Magic Happens was the parade.
Mm-hmm.
And they stopped that for the Pixar parade for the summer. And that stopped right before the holidays.
And they didn't do anything else?
Mm-mm.
That's disappointing.
I will be glad to be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Disneyland does not have a parade at this moment. The monorail you can sit up front in.
One of my favorite things was we did go to Cars Land for Sunset, where they play
Oh, yes.
tune. And
You have to do
I
that.
mean, it's crowded, but I just love that song, and I
They
got
turn the neons on and everything. It's great.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, you
And
have to do that.
Disneyland and California Adventure both have really good nighttime packages for their whole parks. Like I think Disney World has decent stuff, but walking through those parks at night is night and day, literally.
But nighttime in the parks are my favorite. Like I love daytime, but something about in any of the parks, I just love walking around at night.
We enjoyed California Adventure more at night. I will say Disneyland was very people-y.
It is.
People-y.
There's a Pixar Pier has the nice big lagoon for World of Color, so it kind of makes it feel a little bit more open.
Lamplight Lounge.
Yeah,
You could try to get in there and,
sit at the
hang out
bar
for a
if you
little
have
bit.
to. It's great.
I ate there at the bar, and I ate there.
The drinks
It's good.
are amazing.
She's like riding lamplight.
I literally you guys are my travel agents now. I'm writing down all my tips.
If
and
you
hints.
do what's the Ferris wheel called? Mickey's Pal Around?
Yeah,
Pixar Pal Around.
Pal Around.
Pixar Pal Around. Don't make sure you get in the right line if you do it, because one side the things swing when you go.
Oh no.
Yeah, I won't do that one either.
I
So
would
you can just do
love-
regular Ferris wheel, or you can do like the death wheel, whatever it's actually
The
called.
wheel of
The
death.
swinging and non-swinging. I would love for you to get on the swinging and get your husband to record that.
I love a
I'll
mess.
say if you want other food that's not Disney themed food, like if that's not something your husband wants, or
Go
that's
to
your
In-N-Out.
there's not an In-N-Out within walking distance though. There's you can Uber to one.
Uber Eats.
But there's like a Mimi's Cafe. There's a Denny's, a McDonald's. There's a bunch of stuff on Harbor that you can walk to.
So, okay, let's go to Universal now. Quickly. If I'm going to Universal, what do I do? One day. That's all I wanna have.
100% you need to rope drop Super Mario Land.
Super Mario.
She won't ride Mario Kart.
I'm telling you, my husband's going to leave me behind and I'll be taking pictures. He has no shame.
I
But
would.
so
He'll be like,
you want to
"Deuces."
start at the lower lot and rope drop that and then work your way up. It'll totally be the perfect. You don't even have to like go in an order other than just stay in the lower lot, complete all of those rides. Even when you come out of Super Mario World, go ahead and knock out the Mummy, Jurassic
Terry,
Park.
Don't go to the lower lot because you won't do anything in the lower lot.
She won't do anything.
Yeah.
in the lower lot.
But her husband,
But my
Her
husband
husband
will.
will you
can-
go stand
can
in lines with them and like experience
Yeah.
the line, and then take the
Okay.
chicken exit when you
Yeah.
get to the end?
do that
Yeah.
then. But
Then I shop
Allison,
while he rides.
Allison, that strategy sounds strangely familiar.
Oh yeah, a friend named Jason told me to do that when I went there.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking back to the other pods we have done. I was like, literally, like, I think everyone said lower lot.
Yeah,
then
lower
upper
lot's the
lot.
way
Like,
to
I
go.
was strategically thinking
Everybody's
that.
going to rush to Nintendo Land and begin with. You can go ahead and get Express Pass for the ticket.
Okay.
Because
So it's
didn't
worth
they
it?
say before it's not that expensive out there compared to like
Yeah, it's not.
Orlando?
It's not.
How far is the drive? Like if she's going to Uber from Disneyland to Universal, how far is that?
An hour.
It's about an hour.
Are you staying at Universal or are you still staying at Disney? Okay.
Well, the third night, we haven't decided where we're staying yet. It's going to be one of those, do we want to stay closer to the park or closer to the airport to fly out the next morning?
Where are you flying out of?
What's Anaheim? John Wayne, is that what Anaheim
Oh,
is?
okay.
I was going to say, if you're going to stay on close to the park, the Garland, you want to stay there. It's great. It's a small little hotel.
You want to be walking distance though.
There's a trolley. There's a really cute little trolley you can ride to the
Yeah.
Universal. But the Sheraton is walking distance, and I think it's a Hilton that's walking
Yeah.
distance.
They're the ones beside each other. I really liked both, but I think I would pick the Sheraton over the
Yeah.
Hilton if I was at least split between those two.
I
Okay.
would pick the Garland because it's great. It's
He
very
likes the
old.
trolley.
No, I
That's
don't
three
really
great
care for the trolley.
choices.
The worst thing about the place is the trolley because it's on a stupid schedule and you never catch it right. But it's they have a really cool little 70s bar theme going on, and it's nice. Really good restaurant there called The Yard.
You have to see Waterworld.
Yes, Waterworld.
That was
Waterworld.
number one. Waterworld.
No, we're not talking to
Waterworld.
Water.
And when I say don't sit
Waterworld.
near the splash zone, I mean sit like 5 rows minimum back from the splash zone and just watch in shock and horror at how wet these people get. Like, I don't even know how people stayed. Like, people got thrown a whole bucket of water in their face and just sat there and took it. And I was like, I would have moved.
Well, I know where the splash zone is.
Yeah,
Please
they
tell
have
me.
it
Okay.
marked.
Okay.
But he walks around, the person we had, the MC, he was walking around with a water gun, and he was like, yeah, if you're sitting in a green sea, you're going to get wet. And he's spraying everybody as he's talking. He's just throwing water out every 5 seconds. So like, this is what you're going to be feeling the entire show.
I
it
was
great.
shocked. Like, I have never seen anything like it. It
It's
was
not like a splash mountain or anything like that where you get like kind of wet. It's
this
like,
is like
people
you literally
literally
get a
throwing
bucket
water on you.
thrown in your face.
yeah,
of
no, I'm
water.
not trying to walk around a theme park wet all day.
It'd be one of the, don't go to the 3:00 show. It's the most popular one.
Okay.
But use the express pass for it. They'll let you in first. You can make sure you get a good seat that's high and you won't get wet.
It was a great show.
Amazing.
I've only heard good things about it. Everything I've read about it says I have to.
We did not do anything in Harry Potter, like in or Hogsmeade.
Hogsmeade.
We did not do anything in there.
That's an exact copy of what we have in Orlando. But she's never been to a
But
Universal
if I've never
park.
been to Orlando, it's worth doing.
Yeah, it's worth
out
going
there.
to. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, walking around. But also that one ride that they do have from our Orlando park
Forbidden Journey
is very motion sick inducing. I think.
Gotcha.
They have 2 of the rides because they have Fly the Hippogriff too.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fun. And you get good views. You could do that one.
She probably
it's a
won't.
kiddie coaster.
But the other one you said is motion sickness.
Yeah, that one does
inducing.
go upside down. So
Yeah.
Well, my
It's-
husband gets like seasick. That's why he won't go on a
well,
cruise.
good because he's on land the entire time. So,
So it's like if it's motion sickness inducing.
maybe you don't need to take him to Waterworld.
Oh no! Just he gets sick with deep sea fishing, so he's like, I'm never going to a boat again.
Okay, then
No,
don't
it's
go
okay,
to Jurassic
cruise.
World because that is a boat ride.
But like, how
Take some Dramamine. Just have him
I
take
give
some
him
Dramamine.
patches behind his ear.
Can you do
Good
Splash
situation.
Mountain?
If
Me?
I'm in a good mood, yeah.
Okay, so Jurassic World, do that because
Okay.
that's different than what we have in
Yes,
Orlando.
it is amazing. If you're a Jurassic Park fan, I mean, that was my number one thing I had to do when I went to Universal Hollywood.
Do the escalators; those are great rides. There's 5 of them. You'll have
Well,
to
you
do.
You're
Yeah.
going from park to park. Is that what
You'll have to do them
From the-
twice.
from the upper lot to the lower, or from the lower lot to the upper lot.
Yeah, from upper to lower, and then from upper to tram, which the tram tour you do have to do too, even though
Yeah.
some of it's really bad.
I
Oh, yeah, the tram tour.
forgot about that.
The tram tour has the Fast and Furious, which is actually absolutely horrible, and then they also have King Kong. So, but you'll get to see all the Dark Universe sets they use. They'll go past the sets for or the sound stages for The Voice, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the fire station, the Desperate Housewives.
I didn't do
houses if they're
anything
not
with
filming.
the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
You rode by the sound stages they're in.
Well, no one mentioned that, and I wrote it twice.
They show it on the video.
Can I
Did not.
tell that it's the
Yeah.
Fresh Prince of Bel Air?
They
Am I
did
just looking
not.
like at a
Both
warehouse
times I
from the
went on it,
outside?
they showed it. I said,
Was
"This is
it,
the
are you
Fresh
talking about
Prince."
the new one? Not the old Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. What's the
Yeah, the new
new
one.
show called?
The new show,
Oh.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I thought
never
it had a
seen the new
different
one.
name.
No, it's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Secret Life of
And-
Pets.
But yeah, that was good.
cute.
You'll enjoy
Secret
that
Life
one.
of
It's
Pets.
slow. They turn you into a dog.
Love that.
But honestly, with the Express Pass, I think it's really easy to get a lot done there too, and still be able to take your time and look around and see everything and just the views. Like, I was just in awe of the views you have from Universal Hollywood. When you're on those escalators and you're in the top lot before you go down, it goes on forever. And I could have just stood there and looked at it.
You can see the lot. You can see Warner Brothers. You can see Disney Studios from the. There's a
Well,
little
I'm
landing.
excited about Universal because it is closer to Hollywood. And not that I feel like the one in Florida is lacking because it's on the East Coast, but I don't know, it feels kind of cool to go to one that's right there at Hollywood. And it's
This
Universal.
is a good way to get your feet wet with Universal because there's not as much.
Yeah.
You go in, it's very much a half-day park with Express Pass.
Good.
So you can do what you want to by, I say, 2 or 3 o'clock. And then if you want to go to sightsee in Hollywood, go down to Hollywood.
When it closes early, I'm pretty sure it closed at like 6 o'clock when we were there.
Universal does?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the City Walk is great.
The City Walk is open.
They have a lot of the same food we have. They've actually just closed a bunch of stuff too. But Mama Melrose, Vivo, Cowfish, things out there. NBC Grill, the Chocolate Emporium.
Yeah.
They also have Voodoo Donuts, don't they?
Yes.
They have that too.
Get Voodoo Donuts.
Yeah, I've never had those before.
Get them. So Universal, I think that's about it then. Like if you're going to, the biggest expectation from both these parks, especially since you haven't been to Universal, it's going to be kind of off to the side. There's going to be great things about both. You'll see why Walt wanted to do stuff the way they did in Florida versus what they did out there in Disneyland. If you take the tram tour, they'll talk to you about some of the stuff. Like Universal is actually in Universal City, Studio City, something like that, which is where Walt got the idea to build his own city in Florida. I can't remember the name of the guy who was running Universal at the time, but he told Walt, make it your own city. Like you have full say so over what you can do. So that's how that came about. Taking that history there at Disneyland, just make sure that you take your time and wave to Walt on the way out and in his apartment.
And I'm very excited I'm going, and I love my children, but I'm very excited that it's just my husband and I. So we can actually walk around and take stuff in because I really do want to experience how different it is than Walt Disney World without the mom, can we go here? Mom, can we go? And planning everything out to the minute where we can just kind of wander around and just feel it out for ourselves.
If you can get the Walk and Walt Footsteps tour, I think it's still the same name. I would get it because it really tells a little bit more of that depth of what Walt did with the park and his traditions. And then you get to go into the apartment at the end of the tour. So it's kind of nice as Disney fans to be able to stand where Walt stood and, take that all in.
The legit apartment.
That apartment is so cool.
That's crazy.
It's so
It's like
small.
you're literally walking into like a time capsule.
Can you imagine being that important where someone like keeps your house the exact same as it is right now?
And people not just your house. They kept his office the same too.
I mean, that's crazy.
So like his house, his apartment, the barn in Griffith Park is still set up pretty much the same way he had it. It's just crazy how much like people. I mean, I hold him in high esteem because of what all he did for movies, for animation, and for theme park. But I would never think that somebody would have said, "Hey, we're going to make sure that the same tobacco is in his top left drawer of his office." The thing about the apartment is that it's not the original stuff. The family still has that. That's in the Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. But the stuff in the office is owned by Disney Studios. So that's all cataloged and in the same exact spot that it originally was.
Say just have fun and like take your time and really try to take everything in going out there. Like I know there's a lot to do and you want to go do a lot, but really try to take in those moments. When my friend and I got out there, we went and got corn dog from Little Red Wagon and we literally just sat against the wall where like Starbucks is, like sat there eating and just kind of took in the atmosphere of Disneyland and just had a good time just walking around and not actually doing anything to kind of just experience and be like, this is where Walt Disney actually has been. Like he never got to see Walt Disney World finish, but he did. He was there for Disneyland. So it was just one of those moments where we were just like, this is so cool that we're actually here and we get to do this.
Now look at that too, because my first trip I was solo, completely solo. I walked in for rope drop and I sat in the hub on a bench, just sat there and took it in for a good 30 minutes of where I was and where it came from. I mean, it's no matter if you're a Disney fan or not, at the end of the day, that theme park did a lot for us as theme
You
park
can go inside the
enthusiasts.
castle.
Yeah.
There's like a whole little, like the story of Sleeping Beauty, and you go through and can see the different things and walk through the castle.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
Well, any other questions that you
No, you guys
might
did
have?
great. No, you guys did great.
We gave her a lot to do for 2 days.
No, but that's what I wanted, because I mean, it's a great trip, but it's one of those things that it's so much you're almost overwhelmed if someone doesn't give you a roadmap to like
At
what do you do.
the Grand Californian, you have your own entrance into Disney California Adventure.
and to
You go
Downtown
through
Disney.
security and stuff, and Downtown Disney. You go through security and stuff, and then you line up at the gate, and it puts you out over, what's the name of that area? The not Redwood
It's
Forest,
Grizzly Peak.
Grizzly Peak. So they have like a water ride over there and stuff, but you kind of get put into the park right there, close to where Soarin' and stuff is. So just really look at the park map so you know like what are you guys going to rope drop when you get there? Like, is it going to be the Spider-Man ride over in Avengers Campus, or is it going to be one of the other things? Because like your husband will do, but you won't do the Incredibles roller coaster.
Yes.
It was fun.
The last thing I'll say is there's more rides in Disneyland proper, more attractions in that one park than Walt Disney World has altogether. So you don't think you're going to do everything there is to do, but in 2 days you can get a lot done, and especially utilizing lightning lane and rope drop. Those that don't have it, you'll be fine.
That was great advice. Very excited.
What a great travel agent.
Y'all are. I mean, this proved it right here. If nothing else has.
But Disney World is such a copy of Disneyland that once you walk in, you'll feel like you're at home. Space Mountain's in roughly the same spot. Pirates is in the same spot. Splash
It's just
is in
like
the same.
the furniture slightly rearranged.
Yeah, you'll know where it is. So you'll just start walking and figure it out. Like, and I'm not saying like don't look at a map, but
Oh, definitely look at a map.
I forgot you have to eat the beignets.
Oh, beignets. Love beignets.
yeah, the beignets in the park, not the beignets
In the
at
park.
not Jazz Kitchen beignets.
Okay. The ones
are
in like
over-
New Orleans Square.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's where they are since they're beignets. Okay.
They're what's Tiana's Palace?
Well,
Tiana's
but
Palace.
then
But
thing is-
it's a beignet on the backside.
it's like I think it's got a separate name, but yes, it's basically if you just walk to the back of Tiana's Palace.
Yeah, it's attached, same kitchen type stuff. All right. Well, if that's all the questions we have,
That's all I got.
okay. All we got. All right. So that's going to do it for us today. Allison, thank you for coming and telling us about your experience with farts. I'm glad that you came on and were able to also talk about Disneyland and Universal with Terry and get her in the right directions. We hope to have you back. Can people get a hold of you for planning a festival trip, a Disneyland trip, a Universal trip, anything trip?
Well, I really appreciate y'all having me on. I love being on the podcast. It makes me feel like a D-list celebrity, as Jason would call it.
Let's be real. Right now, like we're all maybe Y-list celebrities.
I don't even
Like,
think
we're-
it goes below D. They just put everyone on at least on the D list. So we're
No,
D-list celebrities. I was so happy to be on. And then you can always find me. I'm most active on Instagram. It's Allison_magical travel. You can also see my highlight from my trip in January if you go to my page. So I know that I always like to follow along and look at other people's trips while I'm not in the parks. It helps get some of that magic. But you can find me on Instagram or on Facebook, Allison Hobbs Magical Travel. So I love when people follow along during my trips. I'm always posting about the latest news and just upcoming trips. And of course, all the information about the festivals that happen at Epcot. So be sure to follow both pages for Disney news.
I think for the next episode, we're going to take a little bit of break after this one for about a week or so, and we'll come back for a little bit of a late Valentine's Day style show with the best date night ideas for Disney Universal. But until then, if you want to get a hold of any of us, you can contact us at www.magicaltravel.com. Just we'll plan your best family vacation we can and send you a no obligation quote. You also would take some time and please rate and share the episode on your social medias. It'd be great, and will give us some feedback. Until next time, we will see you on the next show.